So all you settle to one go. But I think that's a luxury for most of us, So it's one advice about the car, because I mean I'm one of those who views the car as a way to get from one place to another. A car is a depreciating asset. I mean, as the first day that you buy a car, the value goes down. I used to work in KLCC for 10 years, and I took I took the train every day going there, and there are a lot of ways for you to save money and push it further into investments and protecting yourself. So a car is, however, a bit of a status symbol. You always want something nice, probably reflective, but balance it out. Like Nirmala says, you have to look at what you can afford. Don't go overboard. There are many options at looking second-hand car. In fact, one of the things I went for previously was nowadays you sometimes don't need to own a car. You can actually lease a car for 5 years, and you don't have to pay the road tax and insurance because it's already bundled as part of the lease. And after 5 years, you decide, if I want a car, then you just pay the value of the car at that point in time. So this scheme is available in Malaysia right now. It was very popular in more in developed countries. So that's another option that you should be thinking about. A house is that huge investment. But again, go for what you can afford. I had very interesting colleagues when fairly early in my working life, because to afford a house sometimes is a bit difficult. So what they did is 4 or 5 people pooled together to buy a house. And then when they actually did that, and then they could actually sell off the house later, make a bit of money, then they can actually go on to get a better house for themselves. So there's many ways of thinking about this. Property investment is usually a good thing to have because it's a hard asset. It's something that you can use and you can go back to. But it's okay also to rent for the time being. So you have to look at what is the affordability that you have. Marriage is, of course, the huge important step in your life. I was earning very little when I started working, and it actually floored me on the amount I could save when I had to. And marriage is one of the things that you will really go for it and say, okay, I'm going to save. I actually, while earning something like 1,000 something ringgit in my early working years, I could actually save 20,000 in less than 2 years to actually, do that. And I couldn't believe how I could do it, but because you were focused on a goal, you can actually do it. But of course, at that time, every lunchtime, I went back to my mom's house to makan. There are many ways to save. I mean, for students in EduCity, for example, as students, you should be thinking, what are the steps that you can do to get these savings? You can't stay on campus, then you don't have to drive around a lot, and petrol and maintenance of the car, is lessened a lot. You can walk to most of the facilities once you're on campus, which is also really good exercise. And then on campus you have food places which are much more affordable than when you go out. You want your Starbucks and your McDonald's and etc. But choice of food, choice of saving a little bit here and there actually amounts to a lot. So if you're focused on, yes, I do want to get married, yes, it's the right time, etc., you have to look at the little bits that you can save, and you have to make the choices, consciously to say, okay, do I really need this at this point in time? That's how I managed to unbelievably save about 20,000. I couldn't believe it. I seriously couldn't believe it, but I did. So you have to sacrifice a bit of things here and there, and you can actually do it, but you have to be focused. The other thing I like to add is from an insurance perspective, after marriage, then you start thinking about kids. Please invest in education insurance, because the cost of education, you don't know what's going to be further down the line, And my wife was very disciplined to do this. As soon as our kids got born, she signed up for an education insurance, which after once they are 18 or 21, you have at least sometimes 20,000 ringgit, 30,000 ringgit, which helps a lot to covering education costs. So those are the things you should be thinking about as well. And this is all the whole notion of start saving a little bit, and it actually accumulates. So you have to, if you actually have that discipline, you'll be surprised how much you can achieve actually.
I think that's a very good point. I was quite surprised by the education insurance part. Yeah, because I never really thought of that. Just being married and all. So I still need to take my time to learn all this stuff as well. So Puan Nimala, any thoughts?
Yeah, I would definitely concur to what Wan mentioned. Yeah, it's all about like I say, you have so many things you want to do, and especially one of the key things you will look at buying a house, buying a car, things, and of course settling down, getting married, starting a family. But there's also a lot of other things in life that you want to grow in your career, you want to prosper, you want to get move on, so things like that. So hence why like when I talk about, just to add on, I totally want to concur whatever Wan mentioned, but I don't want to repeat it, so I'm just going to tweak it a bit in terms of like house and car. When you want to buy these things, obviously you're going to take a loan. So I'm coming from that perspective. So any loan that you want to take in terms of achieving these life purchases, you want to buy this thing, we go with these three factors that we want you to look at, the 3 P's we look at. So any loans that you want to take, the first P is the purpose of why you want to take the loan. So ensure it's for a productive purpose. So meaning to say, when I buy a house, my net worth will increase, right? So obviously that's for a productive purpose, because at the end of the day, there is a gain. But then again, prior to buying a house, you really need to weigh on what you can afford. So that's what comes to the second P, your payment affordability. Can you really afford this payment or not? So we have a very simple formula to know how much you can afford to, is you do your debt to income ratio. So how you calculate your debt to income ratio is, every month, whatever that you're paying for, your loan installments, you sum it up and divide upon your net income. Net income means income minus all your statutory deductions like SOCSO, EPF, Zakat, and tax. So over your net income and times 100. So if you see, you must try to maintain a ratio of below 40% for all your debt payment. So ideally, an income ratio is 40% is for debt payment, 50% is for your living expenses, and 10% for your saving. So this is something ideal. So always try to keep your debt to income ratio low. So when you're a student, when you first graduate, a lot of us have education loan. So make sure to include that before you think of starting off another loan. So that's something you have to look at, is your payment affordability, right? Then the third P is your payment record. Please remember, always maintain a good payment record, but because don't think another person doesn't know what you did here. I know what you did last loan. They know what you did in your last loan, because everything is centralized now. Everybody knows. If you go and apply in a financial institution, they know where to check about you. They will check your history. They know to check your secrets report. So if you have taken a loan and you have not paid it well, it will jeopardize the whole thing. Why I'm coming to this is, I have seen so many stories. Student, they saw, a young graduate or, an adult, young adult. You went around, you saw a house that you love, you saw at the shopping complex. They say, wow, it's really nice and everything. And then you wanted to buy that. And then you signed the SMP, you paid the down payment, you signed the SMP, everything done. Then you went to apply for the loan gets rejected. Why? Because when you first started off, you were so generous, you signed as a guarantor for your ex-girlfriend. And now it's broken up. And then you're stuck here, So, these kind of things you have to be very careful of, So records are very important to keep. So these are the 3 things you look. So if for marriage, and we also see a lot of them starting off marriage expenses, you want to get married, you need to plan how much you're going to spend for this, because we don't want you to end up in debts. A lot of couples now take up marriage loans. They want to have that dream wedding. Seumur sekali je dalam seumur ni saya kahwin, right? They have tagline, once in a lifetime, I want to have that fairy tale. I've been dreaming about this fairy tale wedding all my life. I like what one said, marry a person with already the assets, yeah? But it's hard, you already fell in love, and then only you knew everything else. So yeah, you still wanted that fairy tale wedding, and then you go all out for debts. Please don't start this off with debts, because this is a lifestyle debt. It's not a productive debt. And to share, not to scare you guys out there who's planning to get married, I wish you all the best, I'm sure. But one of the main reasons for divorce in Malaysia is finances. Yeah. One of the main reasons. Yeah. And we have seen many cases coming to us also, because it started off with this debt, and after marriage, many things, it's okay, I can afford to pay because now got two income. Last time one income, now got two income, we can join and pay. But two income, you got three expenses, you'll have four expenses. As your kids come in, the expenses will grow. Commitment will grow. The more you have to save, you start paying for their education, insurance, you got to start saving for them, this and that. Then this accumulates, and we have seen so many people overlapping the loan, overlapping until their grandchildren also, they haven't paid this yet. So try to avoid, if you want that wedding, you want that way, save up for it. And to me, it's just that one day. Don't make that one day expenses create a lifetime regret for you. Yeah, so you want, most importantly in a wedding, what is the key thing in a wedding? What is the key thing in the marriage? So our motto is invest in your marriage, not in your wedding day, right? So
that's a very good point. Yeah, I completely agree. So, like I was saying, I just got married. In fact, I just got married 2 weeks ago, 7-11, the date.
Oh, congrats.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a very nice date, 7-11. So, before we got married, one of the things that I told my spouse currently, so I told her, you know what, we're about to start a life together. Let's not start a life with debt. So we really focus to make sure that, number one, we don't take any loans. Number two, we focus that, you know what, since we are getting married, we're living a life together. We want to make sure that our credit card debt is zero. So that's like our first priority when we wanted to start a life. So Alhamdulillah, we've gotten through everything, and Alhamdulillah, it's still zero. Yeah. So I think that's a very good achievement that I've done so far. Okay, so getting back to the topic, I think we are a bit short on time. I have to apologize to our speaker and to our audience because we have a bit of a technical issue just now. So again, thank you so much Encik Wan and Puan Nimala for addressing the most interesting topic, which is financial adulting. So this marks the end of our first financial talk show. However, earlier I've mentioned that we are giving away a free Xiaomi camera to one lucky participant. So all you have to do is answer one question correctly. So to answer, all you have to do is type down your answer in the question and answer chat box in your Zoom webinar down there. So remember, do not select answer anonymously because you will need to submit your answer, as we wanted to know who are we speaking to. And here's the trick. Only the fifth person to answer correctly in the chat box will walk away with this awesome prize. So now let's have Encik Wan to give us a question. Encik Wan, do you have the question?
Okay, but just before the question is repeat a new movie coming to you soon. I Know What You Did Last Loan, coming to cinema soon. Okay, so the question is, what are the three big life purchases for the youth? What are the three big life purchases for the youth? And don't forget my advice if you can do 3 in 1.
So what are the three big life purchases? I think we mentioned several times in this session. So let's see if we have anyone who's able to answer correctly. So who is the fifth person? We'll have my team to deliver me the answer. They are checking now via the webinar. question and answer chat box. Do we have the winner already? Do we have the winner already? Oh, it seems like we already have the winner. Oh, quite fast. I was surprised. I thought I had to talk a bit more. But since we already have the winner, so you are going home with a Xiaomi Mi Cam. So the winner I'm sorry, I can't see who is the winner. Muhammad Akid, Muhdakid. Muhammad Akid, Alhamdulillah, you are the winner. Please stay on the call. We will contact you shortly. Congratulations again. Our team will contact you shortly. So that is it for today. Staying on top of your finances can be a very daunting at first, but keep your finances in control, and putting priority of your savings and getting responsibility of your financial knowledge, you can actually enter the real world as a financially responsible adult. So before we go, you might want to know that Maybank currently, we are the #1 graduate employer of the year. So help us defend our title by scanning the QR code on your screen. Hi everyone, it's me again, Fairuz. So based from the video you have seen just now, it is obvious that we will be talking about your first salary. So joining me with me today, we have two special guests that would be sharing their insights regarding on how should we spend our first salary. So together with me here, we have Dr. Izzat, a lecturer from IIUM, International Islamic University Malaysia, and we have Puan Nirmala, which is also from AKPK, Head Unit of Research and Consultancy in AKPK. So thank you so much for dropping by. So let's get to know each other first. So Dr. Izzat and Puan Nirmala, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you, Faris, for the invitation. I mean, it's really a new experience, like having this kind of sharing through virtual. So anyway, let me introduce myself. So I'm Izzat Sufyan, currently assistant professor at Faculty of Pharmacy, International Islamic University Malaysia. I mean, was in Maybank for quite a short time, experience with Maybank, but yeah, it's really like something I'm looking forward to share a bit of my experience of like how I spend my salary, what bad thing I've done before, and what you should do for the youth right now. Right?
Yeah, all right. So that's nice meeting you again, Dr. Izzat. Dr. Izzat and me, we've known for quite a while because Dr. Izzat actually worked in Maybank for quite a while. Puan Nirmala, are you in?
Yeah, I'm here. Right. Good morning, everybody. Meet you all again if you had joined the earlier session.
Yeah.
Once again to Maybank campus. Thank you, Razif. Nice to meet you, Dr. Izzat. So,
Meet you too.
yeah, from AKPK, we are an agency under Bank Negara Malaysia. Mainly, what we offer is financial education, financial counseling, and debt management program. Has we help people who have debt problems, as well as I'm from the module unit, head of module development and contents actually. So we create financial education modules to help. We believe a lot in prevention, so we want to share our experience in terms of we've seen the problem, so we know what makes a person gets into problems. So we are very passionate here to help those prevent. Yeah, how can we actually prevent our mistakes? It's not doing it is not right. Sometimes we learn the best from mistakes. So, but how can we actually on better? Yeah, so I've been here with AKPK for 11 years now. Before this, I was with a financial institution for 9 years. Sorry, so 20 years experience with a financial institution.
Okay. All right. So thanks, Dr. Izzat and Puan Nirmala. Now that everyone is familiar with our speaker, let's start the financial talk show. So before the talk show, we actually have blasted a survey to all of our participants that are viewing us today. So the survey is about how would they spend their salary. So as you can see now on the screen, we actually know that they are very keen towards saving. So Dr. Izzat and Puan Nirmala, after looking at this chart, is very high on saving. So what are your views on this? Maybe we can start with Dr. Izzat.
Right. That's what I did previously. I mean, like when I started my work, I mean, we thought like doing saving that will save us for the future, because we thought like, okay, it's good. But then after a while, I think the savings will not give you such a kind of like your money to grow. It's more like, we don't say that there's no growth, but then the growth is so low actually. But I think that's what, I mean, the less understanding of the youth. They thought like, okay, the money is saved, and then after a while it gets additional, but then, for example, you just give like 100 ringgit per month, and then you just adding up. Of course, there's additional, but then for me, you should have more than that. That's why I think if I look back into that graph that you just shared, like some of our youth already have this kind of like awareness of investing. But of course, we don't see what youth a bit of scared of investing because they're worried like with economic situation and so on, like then you lose the money. But then here comes we might talk later about on the investment part. But then for me, you just know like for the future, save money is the best way at present. Even like if I look to my own students in my university, talking about investment never come from their mouth. They just okay, just keep saving because like that kind of culture being done in Malaysia. I think like even like when I remember when I was a kid, the only thing that be on commercialized on TV and radio, there's no social media at that time. It's only keep saving, just save and save. But we never have kind of like thought that okay, you should grow your money more. You should grow your money. Then you should start early, not just after you start work. You should start early when you have, for example, like as a student first year and so on. Like now we talk about first salary. Like they should have more awareness. Like you should grow your money, and there's so many options. That I think Farid will tell us more about that after this. But that's why I think what happened with students, because the environment in our Malaysia culture just to survive, just save. But then we are not talking more like how that saving you can expand further. We are talking about how that saving can increase further into your financial situation. So there's no such thing yet. I'm not saying we don't see the changes, but then at present, 2020, even after COVID, we still see like people just keep saving. And then that's what happened, like even with the government plan, like they're more like taking your money from ETF and try to spend or even like save somewhere. But then we don't tell much. We should tell people, not just the youth and people out there, like you can use your money to invest more and you can grow more. I think that's all my first opinion about it.
So Puan Nirmala, any thoughts after looking at the chart?
I'm seriously very happy that many of them have chosen saving. It's just that's the first step to everything else. Yeah, I totally agree with Dr. Izzat. Saving is just a method. Maybe their understanding the word saving means is saving for future because that's what we have been taught. Yeah. But obviously, savings will not help you beat inflation. So it will not help you grow. So it depends on where. So as we earlier talked about emergency savings, so that's something they really need to look at first. You need to build a strong foundation for emergency so that whatever shocks or changes or sudden disasters happen, we are able to cope and live a sustainable livelihood. I think the key word we want a lot of youth to look at in terms of what they do, whatever they think to do, whatever they think to spend, what they think to invest, it's about creating that sustainable livelihood, meaning to say that livelihood is sustainable throughout any disasters, any emergencies, any this thing. So the ideal thing, like we mentioned, is saving. You start off with it first, create your emergency savings fund, then move on to growing these funds bigger because only through investment you can beat inflation and there is a value for this money in your future. If not, I totally agree. You might as well use the money now because you can buy more things now than what you can do in 10 years to go. If you do not grow this money into a bigger sum that will give you the equal value to buy things that all you buy now. I mean, it's like to sum what Dr. Izzat said, a very simple example. 10 years ago, you could find nasi lemak for 1 ringgit, right? Very simple, common thing. We love to eat nasi lemak, right? So you can find nasi lemak for 1 ringgit. 10 years to come, coming now, present, let's see now, present, is the choices to get a 1 ringgit nasi lemak is so much more limited. Even if you add, it's so little that, within 2 spoons, you're done. If you're lucky, there's a cucumber, but if you take that cucumber, you see the other side because it's transparent, as much as it can be sliced, you slice that fine, right? This is the cost, right?
Yeah.
So coming 10 years down the road, the future, you will not find this anymore. You will never find ringgit nasi lemak anymore. So might as well, if you have that 1 ringgit now, you would want to buy the nasi lemak now, right? You can at least buy a meal. So how do you make this 1 ringgit to be equivalent that you can still purchase something that time, which is maybe 4 ringgit then, or 5 ringgit then. So then you would have to grow this 1 ringgit. So that is what investment is all about. And we are emphasizing that, yes, maybe the understanding between saving and investment was not that. Savings is like probably you're just saving this extra fund from your income every month. But then when you save this fund, you have to grow this fund as well so that it will help you meet your future goals. Yeah. But I'm happy you're all thinking about saving at first. That's the first step you take.
Yeah, I completely agree. So we were quite surprised when we actually received the survey result. We were like, oh, these people, this youth is quite impressive. They prioritize savings first. So
I think COVID might accelerate them, right?
Yeah. I totally agree. COVID, the current crisis has taught us something very, very valuable.
Correct, yeah. So really COVID is a big learning lesson for all of us. So one of the things that I found very interesting when you say about the nasi lemak analogy just now was that in 1990s, probably we could buy nasi lemak for 1 ringgit. It's not just the nasi lemak. If you want to buy teh tarik, it would exist back in 1990, even until now. However, when we talk about the youth lifestyle, nowadays, the most common drink for the youth is, I would say, boba. An example of boba. 1990s, we don't really have a boba, but now we have a boba. So nowadays, it's not just the price that are increasing, it's the options as well. And with the varieties of options, with the varieties of, I would say, price ranges, especially like boba become a normal drink for the youth outside there. And it's not really a cheap drink either. It's quite an expensive drink. So my question is, youth nowadays, we are starting with quite, I would say, a low income. But the time we're living in is the best time of all, which by it accompanies us with an expensive lifestyle. So with low income and expensive lifestyle, it's not really something that we could avoid. So how do you suggest, for us youth to go about with our finances with low income and expensive lifestyle? Maybe we can start with Dr. Izzat, yeah?
Okay, yeah, I see that with my students. Like, even like they are receiving PTN, but their lifestyle kind of like, oh, are they receiving the same salary with me? That kind of lifestyle we see, like, it's throughout the generation. I mean, it comes back to the basic questions. I mean, the youth need to ask themselves between priorities and trends. Because, like, it looks like nowadays they see trends is their priority rather than the actual priority. So, like, they kind of like better to cut their spending on others, even like some cut their spending on books for students just to buy a nice unicorn Starbucks, for example. That's what they say. But then it's just one-off. But then we need to make them realize, I mean, that the youth, even the fresh graduates out there, even current students as well, and starting job youth out there, like, need to realize back, for example, if you receive 2,500 per month, I mean, that's quite average salary for new graduates in Malaysia. But then if you're talking about the spending, if you prefer to choose your trend, make a kind of a prediction studies, like, if you keep on this kind of lifestyle, can you survive? We are not talking about 5 years. The upcoming 6 months only. Give yourself 6 months only. Can you survive if you keep this kind of lifestyle spending? And then some of them might thought they can because without their realize, they are receiving money outside of their salary, like from their parents and so on. So those are the things. They show how to actually assist them to understand this. Put aside whatever your parents give your money and so on, especially if they come with a family that have been leveraged. Try to understand, okay, this is your only source of income, your only salary. And from that, like, just see whatever is your priority on that. If you're looking into trends, lavish, expensive lifestyle and so on, is your way. With that, can you cope with your salary? Like if you're like 1,500 spent on Shopee, on Lazada, on whatever, Zalora, or whatever platform available there, can you survive 1K? And then some of them thought they can because they live with their parents. Try to put themselves in the worst comes to worst situation. Rent by yourself, only survive with your own income, how much you can spend for utilities and so on. Then they realize, okay, if you want, they can keep with the lavish or the expensive lifestyle if they have extra. So whatever they used to doing right now, they spend the main income for lifestyle first before the priorities come first. So this needs to be changed, needs to be aware about.